So good. We can do like our little intro after we record, and we can just like hop on into the cues if we want, so that like you don't have to hear me and Bridget go from like our normal voices to like our podcast voices where we do the intro.
Can we get a little sampling that? Like, I feel like that's such an important, like, I want your podcast persona to be here. I also want to see like the exercises you do. Like, I just imagine Anchorman, bee-bobble.
Oh no, it's a lot of, actually, I don't even think we have podcast personas, and maybe that's the problem.
The problem is we're 100% ourselves on this podcast.
Just myself. That's the issue with the whole podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast is good. I listened to the new episode today on my walk. It was good.
Jason loves to give me his live notes in Slack as he's listening to it. And that's always fun.
It's a good start to your Wednesday.
Give me a little feedback.
So Sarah and I both know that managers can really kind of make or break your working experience. But you're not really going to have the best, most beautiful relationship with your managers right off the bat. As two people with some, and in Sarah's case, it's zero, but management experience with plans to kind of like run shit someday, we want to make sure we're both set up for success when it comes to managing people and even managing our managers. Like, I think we're both very fortunate to know at a young age that we want to be managing people someday. So there's definitely things that we can be doing now in our careers to kind of like be leaders without actually managing people.
And so we thought, what better way to learn how to not be shitty managers than with good ass managers? Also, does camp counseling count as management experience? Because then I have like a few years on me. So
yes, it does.
That is right. You heard me correctly. It is Bring Your Manager to Podcast Day. So MK, my manager, the head of marketing at Alice, and Jason, Bridget's manager, the VP of marketing at Big Time, are management pros. They have a combined 30 years of work experience. Allegedly, Jason has been managing people since the dawn of time, so he knows a thing or two. And they have just seen the world. It's a fact. They know more than we do. So we were really excited to sit down with them and have them bring a unique perspective on how to build relationships with your direct reports so that you actually have a good manager-managee relationship, and what kind of goes into being a good managee and what goes into being a good manager. So let's pick their Let's pick their brain, shall we?
Like, hi, Wrigley. He's got a little sweater on.
Like, dive bombing all of my meetings, or except for my one-on-ones, she just goes and like, she doesn't want to hear Jason's voice apparently, so she always goes and sleeps in the bathtub when I'm on my one-on-ones with Jason.
Always.
Yeah, like literally, she'll leave from under my desk, and he just like watches her go to the bathroom. It's so funny.
We're calling this episode and this meeting Bring Your Manager to Podcast Day, because that's what is literally happening right now. I also started recording because we like to record the banter, because we like to think that we're funny. It's probably not great that we think that we're funny, because then if people tell us, then we're only just enabled to do it more, which is probably not amazing, but hey, whatever.
I tell Jason I'm funny all the time.
MK almost just spit her water out, so let's make sure we document that.
Yeah, someone yesterday in one of our design meetings was like, Sarah, we missed you when you're out of the office. It was so quiet. I was like, okay. I was like, got it. Cool.
I don't know. I still haven't met Jason in real life, so I think you're pretty funny over Slack, and I think that your gift game is very strong, but I don't know. I don't know yet.
Oh no, MK, I think you're muted. Or we can't hear you. Either or.
No, I thought this was a podcast. You wanted to actually hear my voice.
Correct.
I mean.
Got it. Okay, cool. Sweet. whatever details. Speaking of gift, like skills with a Z, Sarah, have you played the gift game with Bridget yet?
No, we haven't. I feel like we need like a self-control and treats bonding, where it's just we hang out. MK is literally trademarking this game called Say It With a GIF. That's essentially just Cards Against Humanity, but you find GIFs to go with the situations. It has brought our marketing team together, but also torn us apart competitively.
Yeah. There was like happiness and heartache all in one.
Yeah. But like
we actually think we're gonna go to market with the name Big GIF Energy.
Yes.
Just just the right amount of wrong.
I don't know. There's no line in this podcast in particular. So
Bridget shared a video today of this podcast on LinkedIn where I said that I was emotionally unavailable. So like borders, they don't exist. It was about making friends in the workplace. I didn't know if I was going to make friends at Alice, and I was proven wrong, obviously. I was like, I don't know, they seem a little bit older, like I don't know if we're going to vibe, and then it was like week 1 and like we vibed, like we did it, and I was like, okay.
They seem older.
I was like, I don't know.
I'm going to check that off the box of like.
I was like, no one here is
in the older category.
I was like, no one here is still in college. Like
at least you got like a month or 2 with them in the office. Like it's so weird doing it remote.
Yeah.
Have you been only ever remote, Bridget, because of COVID? Or are you remote full-time anyway?
Big Time, yeah. I started here at the end of July, Jason. So, I mean.
Yeah, and we've been remote since March, so.
Wow.
It's weird. I keep telling Jason I'm going to like convince him to go to the office one day just to like meet each other.
We got to go soon.
You keep telling him, but it doesn't sound like it's been accepted.
Today I set my virtual background as my actual office, and all of the exec team had our CEO tricked that I was actually in the office. He's probably going to listen to this. It's going to be great. But then he said he was coming in later this afternoon, and I was like, oh, I had to get my laptop that I broke last week. It's always positive.
Okay. Jason, do you want to give us a quick background and just like who you are, what you do, how you got here?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm the VP of Marketing at Big Time Software. We help professional services firms, think of accountants, architecture firms, engineering, scale their business by providing them an all-in-one platform to kind of track and act on all of their operational metrics. I've been in the B2B SaaS space for a little over 10 years now. I started off in B2C, anywhere from the dental space to spa and salon, and now professional services firms, selling software to all of them. And then I've been through 2 acquisitions so far. And the crazy thing is that those 2 companies, within a couple months or weeks after I left, they ended up getting acquired by a bigger company right after that. So lots of crazy experiences, some fun, some not so fun. And then, that kind of brought me to Big Time.
I like the word choice that you use of track and act.
I literally wrote that down because I've spent the last 3 days working on a video script and it never came out of his mouth until now. And I literally wrote it down. MK, what about you? What brought you to Alice?
What brought me to Alice was actually a gift. So at Alice, we use artificial intelligence to help with delivering a more personal experience through gifting. Traditionally, this industry has been called direct mail or dimensional mail, but we just call it personal gifting. When you think about giving gifts to the people that you care about, they're always personal. Like when someone sends you something that's really lame, you're like, what? You don't know me at all. That's like, this hurts my feelings. It's insulting. And we think that gift giving in the professional space should be personal. So we help facilitate that. But it all started when I walked into the office one day and had 5 boxes, all nondescript, just brown cardboard boxes on my desk. And I'm used to that. My initials were monogrammed in the lower right-hand side of the corner of the box. And I was like, what? And now I assumed that it was like my fidelity advisor or someone that I actually had a relationship with. And I opened it up and inside was a handwritten note that said, thought you had an eye for photography, thought this might come in handy. By the way, if you want to talk about delivering this type of experience to your prospects, reach out to me, let me know. And like at that point in time, I actually went and redeemed, it was a picture frame. It was super thoughtful. The gift was like, the note was just right on the money. And unfortunately, I never even talked to the rep because I just reached out directly to the team. And I was like, what are y'all doing? Because this is the coolest experience I've ever had with any sort of marketing channel in a really, really long time. I got to figure out what you're up to. And then it was maybe 7 months later, and my partner and I packed up, left Dallas, Texas, made our way to Boston, and the rest is history.
Hey, you bought something from them, and then you went to work for them as well.
I politely smiled and nodded at Colin and said, thank you so much for this gift. I think I thanked him on LinkedIn. Never accepted, didn't actually even donate it because I got so distracted by the experience that I forgot actually about the gift itself. But I did make good on that whole experience for Colin because when I joined Alice, I made sure that Bird Eye, my previous company, actually purchased Alice after I left. So
there you go.
Good marketing karma there.
So we're good. So the reason why we brought you two on is because you're both two of the managers who we have had just like incredibly positive experiences with. So we're trying to really pick your brain and figure out how you got this way so that when Bridget goes back to managing people and like when I get to the point in my career where I am managing people, we can take your like giant.
So, I already told Jason I have so much to learn from him. Like
yeah.
week one, I was like, oh, I'm here to learn from you. Like learn about marketing, but like specifically from you.
Yeah.
That's a tough question to answer because when it'd be like, say like Rachel or Bridget, Rachel, edit that part out. That's really awkward because it's another member of our team. She just slacked me. I got distracted. I saw her name on the corner of the screen. Sarah and Bridget, like, why are you so hilarious and how are you so talented at podcasting? Like, you just are natural at that. So it's really hard to self-assess when you're just naturally good at something. So thank you very much for the compliment. It's very sweet. I'd say the patience comes in a long way because I had to be patient with a lot of people in my personal life, not just my professional life. I had to watch as people around me were trying to come to terms and understanding of, me coming out of the closet and identifying as queer. And I had to watch as my family really grappled with that and took a long time to come around to that. And the patience, because I love them and I care about them, really, that was where it was deep rooted for me. And when I realized that when you are a people manager and you do genuinely care about the people that you are surrounding yourself with, you also have to have that same extension of patience and empathy for the journey that they're on as well too. So that professional journey is not exactly the same as going through the reconciliation of like, oh, my daughter's a lesbian. Oh my God, it's very different. But the similarities in the fact that people will have to come to their understanding and their journey in the process will just be in their own time. And you just have to be okay with that. You can't force anything, but you can coach and encourage and guide and educate along the way. So my empathy is probably deep rooted just from the fact that I genuinely care in the people that I work with. Both Sarah and Rachel.
We love Rachel. Rachel, if you're listening to this, that's
Rachel.
Pretty awesome. No, but I agree. I think in my time, I was a manager for a short stint at G2 when I was there, but my managers were always telling me like, our team is so young, their feelings don't matter. And I'm like, what do you mean their feelings don't matter? Their feelings about who they are or that all like seeps into their work, and especially now that we're at home and our work and personal and professional lives are like one now. I roll out of bed and I'm at this desk at 8 a.m. So I think that that's super interesting of just how your personal like story of empathy really relates to your professional story of empathy. Sarah, do you have anything you want to say?
No, just thumbs up.
What do I do with my hands?
So Jason, was there a specific moment that you felt, I'm going to be a manager someday, or was there a moment that you really thought like, this is what I'm meant to be doing? Was it way before you actually were able to be a manager? Like, talk me through that process.
Yeah, I mean, it was something I kind of fell into at a younger age. So at 16, I was managing a small restaurant in the town that I went to high school in Michigan. And that it continued through college. Like I went from restaurants to retail. And I mean, I truly believe that this is kind of a side topic, but everybody should have to work in the restaurant industry in some point in their life so that they actually understand not only like the money side of business, but also like going back to the empathy thing on dealing with customers and dealing with employees. And, there's always an employee who has some sort of family thing going on or some reason that they can't come to work. And at least for me, like now, looking back, having to fill that hole in a day when someone can't come to the work in restaurants, in the restaurant industry, was much harder than today in B2B SaaS. I mean, we don't necessarily have to get something done in one day, where when you're down a person in retail or restaurant, it can really affect your business. Like every day something different happens, whether it's on your team or within your company or in your family or personal life or whatever it is. And especially for managers, executive level people, we have to really learn to leave that at the door. It's not a good analogy when we're not leaving our houses currently, but not bringing that into work and continuing to manage your people like you do on an everyday basis. So I don't think there was ever a time that I felt or that I wanted to be a manager. It's something that happened. It's something that I ended up being good at. Lots of errors in the past, and you make mistakes and you learn from them, hopefully, and you move on and become better. But I think for me, I just kind of fell into it.
Shout out to all the folks who now work in tech or SaaS, who started their life, their professional life in retail. There is a lot of grunt work that happens in that experience. And I love that your background is like that as well too, Jason, because my background is that was same way too. It's a GM. I worked at Starbucks for way too long, but that grind every day and knowing that folks are working their tail off for a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I was a shift supervisor at Burgers Bagels at my junior year in high school, and I had to work on the day of prom. But prom was at night, so it was fine. But I did show up kind of smelling like everything bagels. But I think that that's a really good, I didn't mind though. I really like everything bagels. I think that's a really good point though, of just like having management experience is not so much about like the hard skills, and like it is teaching people how to like do what they need to do, but a huge part of it is also creating a relationship with the people that you are managing so that they feel like they can be open and honest with you, so that you can then like understand better if they're not performing, because you know what's going on with them like as a person. And so for a lot of people, where I also fall into that bucket, it can be hard to delineate like, okay, like how do I open up to people in a quote unquote professional environment? And MK and I have managed to like really establish a tight-knit relationship, like probably with me being kind of unwilling to do that. And so for MK, like what are kind of the steps that you take so that you can like earn trust and establish transparency on both sides, even for people who aren't really willing to like tell you what's going on with themselves?
I think there's two things that I always really try to keep in balance. The first of which is how much of myself I bring into the dynamic of the relationship, and how, I mess up, and like, that's okay. And like, I may say another employee's name in the middle of a podcast that I'm recording. Like, that's okay. Like, little things like that are just me bringing my whole self, and that authenticity, it's met with reciprocity. You also bring yourself into that relationship because you see that it's okay to bring all facets of that dynamic. The other side that I think managers, especially first-time managers, have a really hard time with is, most times, if the professional dynamic were removed from the equation, it was just you and another human being having an interaction. If you noticed that there was emotion just below the surface in that interaction, you would naturally want to, like, is everything okay? You'd want to make that ask of the person to clarify that everything was all right and things were balanced. For whatever reason, in the professional space, we just don't want to go there. Like, we just don't want to say, like, we almost want to like ignore that and pretend like it never happened, do that awkward side dance around it. And I make it a point to say, is everything okay, first and foremost? Because if we can't get over that emotional blocker, or that perception of an emotional blocker or roadblock, we're not going to be able to get the real work that we need to get done. So let's address that. Let's address it head on, and know that this is a safe space to bring all dimensions and facets of who you are as a person and as a professional.
Yeah, I think that's maybe the benefit to me starting remote is I am in my real life all the time here at home. And there's so much going on in the world now that a year ago we didn't have to even think about or could even contemplate, that I think that I never got that piece from Jason of like, okay, is it okay to ask about your personal life? Is it not? Because everything is the same right now. I don't know, Jason, like very quickly, I was like, oh, I could have a beer with this guy because he's asking about my day. Or like the first thing he slacks me in the morning is, how are you doing? Like, how was your night? Even though we talked about that the day before, it's still nice to be like, did you actually end up sitting on your couch and watching 4 hours of this TV show that we all watch? I don't know, but I think that is one of the benefits to COVID. And that's like a weird thing to even say those words together, but trying to find the light in some things.
We can each see aspects of each other's home in this recording. I can see your kitchen. I can see the hanging plant. Sarah, I can see everything that happens, especially when your partner walks in behind you. Jason, I can see that you're a Star Wars fan. Like, there are so many elements that we otherwise would not have been introduced to had we not been having to fuse together our work and our life. Such a great point, Bridget.
Yeah, it's also very telling that Sarah and I's fridges are both in the background of our thing. We like to eat. Jason likes to play video games. MK, you like to play music maybe, or your partner does. Like, that's awesome. But going off of, kind of what bringing yourself to work, or what managers can do to kind of like make employees feel they can bring their whole selves. Jason, what makes somebody, quote unquote, like easily managed?
So I think, the specific traits that I look for in new hires, especially in everything that's going on right now and how work is going to be remote from now on, most likely, at least partial, is, we need someone who's proactive, who just doesn't just sit back and wait for something to be assigned to them. They're always thinking about what's new, what's next, how do we stay ahead of our competitors, right? Being super detail oriented is important to me. Attention to detail, something that I don't have to worry or spend a ton of my time triple checking everything to make sure that everything is good. Super important. And then, honesty, especially in the remote situation that we're in right now, having honest, somewhat loyal teammates and employees is super important, right? If you know that you can be honest and open with each other, then that helps build trust quicker than, especially like Bridget said, like, we've never met and it's been months now, but she's honest and trustworthy and someone that I don't worry about at all during the day, wondering if she's doing her job. I know she is. But I think the number one trait for me is someone who's hungry to learn and grow. I think that kind of pulls in all of the previous traits that I spoke about into one. And if you are hungry and eager to learn and grow, then you're going to be a proactive person. You're probably going to be detail oriented. You're going to be honest. You're going to be loyal.
If it makes you feel any better, me and Bridget have also never met. We just are internet friends.
I have not met a single person on this podcast right now.
Bridget, have you met anybody ever?
Bridget, have you left your house?
Okay, so kind of switching gears here from the management. Obviously, you guys at some point, maybe not Jason because you've been managing people since birth, individual contributors. It's becoming a bigger thing now in tech to kind of stay that track. You get that decision, and I think that it gets a bad rap a lot of times. Like, you're not a team player, you don't want to be invested in other people's careers, or you're not invested in this company, or whatever it may be. But what's your kind of advice for people that decide that that's what they want to do with the rest? They don't want to be, VP of marketing. They don't want to be CMO. They just want to, do their own thing.
Not everyone is meant to be a manager, and that's what you don't hear enough is that's okay. You don't have to be a manager or a director or a VP or whatever the title might be. In the end, titles don't really mean that much, right? If you want to do a specific thing for your whole career, that is okay. You can be amazing at that. You can have the greatest work-life balance that you've ever dreamed of. And that's super important. To me, there's really nothing more important than work-life balance. And however you get there is what's important. And that's, becoming and staying a individual contributor, then more power to you. Just continue to learn and hone your skill set so that you're continuing to provide value to the company. And I think you should be able to figure out a way to increase pay, increase bonus, whatever it might be, whatever you're looking for, just by doing that and being great at what you do.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of times that we get hung up on, well, we can only learn from our managers, right? There's got to be a better way for us to learn from those individual contributors that are just absolutely crushing it. But on the other side, like, those people have to be comfortable teaching.
One word that Jason said was impact. And there's a clear distinction between leadership and management. Oftentimes people say when you get that management title or you step into a management role, well, I'm a leader now. Like, now I'm a leader suddenly. And so often that's a trap for people, especially who are first-time managers, that when you get a management title, you're like leading people. It's like suddenly you're leading people. But that's not the case, because you can make impact and you can lead people from an IC role. You can lead from any seat that you're in, and people will follow you if you're a compelling enough leader and influencer with all the things that you're doing. I use the term blast radius often when I talk about the impact that someone has. And I think about blast radius in a way that visually it's represented in a series of concentric circles. So the impact you make on that nucleus, like blast zone, is you. Like, what type of impact are you making on yourself? How are you uplifting yourself, educating yourself, growing yourself? And the next ring out is, how are you making an impact in that blast radius on those that are around you? And you could be an influencer and still be an IC who is just uplifting everyone around you. You could be an energy vortex and you're just like uplifting everybody because of your effervescent personality. You could be uplifting people because you're super smart and sharp and always looking for the next best way to execute something. And you share that knowledge with those that are around you. The next outer ring is like that ring of the company. I like to think about, how are you influencing the company, making impact there as a leader? And then that most outer ring should be, how am I making an impact on our customers. Everything that we do should be about our customers in theory. But until you can take care of yourself and those around you and then your company and your customers, you won't be able to actually make a big impact on your customers in the way that you want to. No matter if you're a people leader and a manager, or if you are an individual contributor with incredible leadership skills. The role and title, to Jason's point, doesn't really matter, honestly. It's that impact that you make as a leader, and it's all of that. It's how big your blast radius is of the work that you do and the impact that it makes. That's what makes a difference between someone who is a good manager too versus a bad manager, or a good IC and a bad IC.
Yeah, I love the piece that you said. You have to take care of yourself, then your people around you, then the company, then your customers. That's something I'm still learning to do in my personal life. Sorry, my dog just laid down.
Wrigley was like, whoa, that was heavy. I gotta lay down.
He was like, you forgot me in this statement, Mom. It's you. It's actually me, then you.
To your point, Bridget, airlines got it right. You know, like when you go on a plane, when they go through their demonstration and they're like, you fasten your seatbelt this way, in the event of an emergency, exits are. But they say, put your oxygen mask on yourself first. And that's because if you're on a flight and you aren't coherent or able to help others around you, you have to help yourself first so that you can help the others on the flight in the event of an emergency. Like, that's the only reason. And why we don't think about that more often in the workplace is beyond me.
Yeah, I think my dad always says in the morning when we're all at the house or whatever for Christmas, he's always like, nobody talk. I need my coffee first. It's the same thing. I need to have a moment with myself. And then you guys can start talking about whatever you want to do today. But I have to just take a moment and drink my coffee first.
MK, your flight attendant voice was immaculate.
Thank you. I've done a lot of traveling in my days, so if this whole marketing thing doesn't work out, like, I'll be there. Sitting on Southwest was one of the, like, just busting out some sort of a rap or rhyme, trying to get people in their seats faster and get them out of the plane faster.
I love it.
So good. Okay, friends, it's time for our favorite part of our episodes. I recently learned, I thought that MK was as hard, like as into cheese as we were, and it turns out popcorn is her favorite food. So that was like a weird like identity thing that we had to work through.
Popcorn is also my favorite food and Wrigley's favorite food. Like, actually.
Bridget, are we twins that have never met? Because my dog and we love popcorn. She gets so excited when she hears me open the microwave for popcorn, or the stovetop. We make it on the stovetop too.
Yes, Wrigley even knows the sound of like that microwave bag, like opening. She's like up from a nap from the bathtub. Like, she's out in the kitchen.
Brady and I have an SLA. Whatever doesn't make it in the bowl, because I tend to over pop the amount of popcorn I have on the stovetop. Whatever doesn't make it in the bowl, it's all hers. So I just like knock it off the countertop.
I don't like popcorn at all, so I'm complete opposite from y'all.
Can you go to a movie without getting popcorn though? Like, I cannot imagine a scenario where I go to a movie theater and I smell that and I don't get popcorn.
Like, I hate the movies, but I love popcorn so much that the only way that my partner can get me to go to the movies is like, they have popcorn. I'm like, all right, fine, let's go.
I can't remember the last time I got popcorn at the movie theater for myself.
That makes
Give me like a bag of Twizzlers and a large Sprite, and I'm set.
Twizzlers are a good choice. You have redeemed yourself. All right, Sarah, ask about cheese.
All right,
all
good.
The Sierra Mist fans out there are like,
what the
damn,
heck?
Sprite.
I like Canada Dry. Friends, what is the cheese that's in your fridge right now?
Oh, also the recipe. You have to like give.
Oh yeah, like what do you eat with it? Like get as excited or not excited as you want about the cheese.
You go first.
Since COVID started, I probably have 5 or 6 different types of cheeses in my fridge.
Good.
We go to Trader Joe's probably every other weekend and just grab a bunch of cheeses. We grab their everything crackers that they have. Love me some pepper jack cheese. Love me some Colby Jack cheese. I think there's a couple other cheeses that I really enjoy that I can't pronounce. So not going to try here. My girlfriend and I have kind of battles, arguments all the time on how the pronunciation is actually, how it actually goes. And we don't have a winner yet. Well, obviously she wins, but I don't know. She's going to listen to this too. I don't know if it's actually true or not. So lots of cheeses, but pepper jack's my go-to.
MK, what's in your fridge? Cheese-wise, also other things, but.
So cheese is like 90% of my diet. The other 10% is popcorn. And the reason cheese is 90% of my diet is because I don't have to make it. It's just ready to go. And I can just run to the fridge in between calls and come back. So in our fridge right now, we have goat cheese. We have 3 types of goat cheese. We have just regular goat cheese. We have herb crusted goat cheese, and we have a cranberry goat cheese right there now. We have 2 kinds of cheddar right now. We have Vermont Sharp cheddar, delicious. Could mostly live off of that. And we have an aged cheddar as well too in there. We have a manchego because my partner loves manchego. And we also have Polio string cheese. I don't know if I can do like brand names on this podcast, but Polio string cheese. And I don't peel it. I just bite it like a banana.
No. It was going so well
I do the same
until that point.
Like,
I don't feel it either.
If I have resorted to string cheese, it's just because it's an act of desperation and I need protein immediately, and I don't have time to play around with.
Then just get Baby Bells. Baby Bells are just like string cheese, except that they're circular, so it's okay to just bite them.
But string cheese is also circular. It's more cylindrical, but it is circular.
This is like a sphere. Okay. It's fine. We forgive you.
Our boss showed us up with the amount of cheese they have in their fridge.
I have like half a pound of like Munster for sandwiches this week.
I do have 2 kinds of goat cheese as well. MK. Big fan of the goat cheese.
Yeah.
Same. Trader Joe's, I don't know if this could be a sponsorship for you, but Trader Joe's blueberry frosted goat cheese.
Oh, yeah. Familiar.
Game changer.
They actually too just came out with Trader Joe's did these like garlic naan crackers with that cheese, like the garlic.
Yes, I got those. So also, good.
Trader Joe's would be a dream sponsor for this podcast.
Oh my God, Trader Joe's, let us know.
Yep.
It's info@selfcontrolandcheese.com if they just want to. If they want to outreach, if they want to email us, it's fine. All right, team. Thank you so much for participating in our Bring Your Manager to Podcast Day. I feel like I learned a lot. I feel like I'm ready at some point to be a manager whenever that happens. Yeah, it's been really real. Appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you so much.
For having me.
I'm not going to do our usual sign off because it's kloveyoubye, but I didn't want to say that to you guys.
Yeah, we're going to do that after.
I literally started my session by saying, like, I really care and I really like my employees. So, like, kloveyoubye. I'm going to say it to you if you're not going to say it back to me. Bye.
Roll the outro music. That's it. That was great.
You don't have to say it. It's fine. Maybe if we make it like another 6 months, maybe I can get you to say it to me. Like,
yeah, I'm gonna give a few more months on you guys.
Thank you. And I mean, I don't want to speak for Jason, but I can only imagine that Jason is probably thinking the same thing I am right now, is that it's a pleasure to manage people who care so much about the work that they do, who care so much to want to invest in their own selves to grow and develop. It makes it that much easier to lean in further and help that person actualize all of the potential that they have and actualize all of their dreams. So thank you for being such phenomenal contributors and for coming to the table ready to just freaking crush it.
So nice.
Shout out to everyone out there with a side hustle. If there's any managers out there who don't like that, you're crazy.
True. We have
Other managers are like that? I hate them already.
They're out there. They exist. They're not having any fun though. So
They're definitely not listening to this podcast. I'll tell you that. Sierra Mist, cheese, side hustles. What?
Airplane or flight attendant voices and dogs in bathtubs.
If we made a word cloud of all the words that were said, it would be dogs in bathtubs, popcorn, cheese, flight attendant, probably empathy, and that's it.
Yeah, nobody
ideally manager.
Oh, manager. Yeah,
that's my marketing podcast. Nobody would. That's kind of the point.
It's kind of the whole point, yeah.
All right, team. Thanks, friends.
Thank you. Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, bye.
MK, it was so good to meet you.
Okay, bye.
Likewise
Nice to
to
meet
meet
you
you,
too,
Bridget
Jason.
and Jason.